we've had people perform for us who we've had people really give a black mark to. And we looked it up and thought, and found out it was just possibly not a meeting of the minds. And so we went ahead and gave them a chance. And as long as they prove that that's the case, we keep them, and we just want to make sure that it's a quality band. It doesn't have to be a mature band as long as they have a mature aspect of their Christianity. You know what I mean? We can, as long as the band has some potential, has something different maybe to them. We had Vegan Llamas. Have you heard Vegan Llamas?
No.
Okay, never heard of them. They come up here, blew us away. They're not a thing now, but I wish they were. Very intricate, almost classical sounding music, along with kind of a punk vibe and kind of punk, folk, and rock all together.
Wow.
And it's a classical type music kind of sound. And so we heard their music. They only had a couple really not too good demos, but we had them up here, and it was amazing. And so every once in a while we find that, diamond in the rough. I've had people come up here and not perform so good, but generally, by the time we put them through the process of weeding out people, we have pretty much from morning to night we're going to have a quality festival now, and it's taken us years to get to that point. But we have so many bands submit. We have on average 29. We didn't have 29 bands this year because of COVID, but we normally have 29 bands, and in that. That is from probably 250 submissions to get to 29.
Wow.
So, and as soon as this is over, actually we're getting submissions now for next year. And so we listen to every demo or link they send us. We want to hear everybody and give them a chance, because there is that diamond on the rough, and a lot of these bands we didn't know when we first started. The Protest, first time we I hope they don't hear this. The Protest, first time we heard them, they weren't all that good, but the guys were great. Guys were great, but the music was it just wasn't honed. And then something happened to these guys, just like in a few months, and they became like super guys. It just gives you a lot of joy to grow with them.
Yeah.
Because we don't really feel like we're much of anything. Because we started 10 years ago, but it seems like yesterday, or 11 years ago. And we just kind of grew with these guys, and we're just doing everything we can to get the gospel out and give glory to God. Just put our hands to the wheel. God's gave us this opportunity, and we're just going to keep pushing until He takes it away.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
What we do originally or yearly is that as soon as this is over, we're going to take about a 2-week break, and nobody's going to mention the word concert or band or anything, because we need a little bit of time just for our minds to heal.
Right.
And then, even though we feel like we're being blessed and encouraged, and our souls are being fed, our spirits are being fed while we're here, it's so much of a psychologically intensive thing that we need a break. But then right after that, we start coming up with ideas on what can we do to improve a little bit. We have to think about volunteers. And we have volunteers for the various departments. We have hospitality, we have transportation, we have the merch area, we have our information area, we have booking, we have kind of a liaison with the veterans organization here, because if we don't have that relationship, we don't have a festival. And so there's just a whole bunch of things that we have to have going on. Now, I have to give, like I mentioned before we started broadcasting, that this is actually a collaboration between me and Jay. It founded Always One Ministries and Kingdom Come Festival. But Angie, immediately we brought Angie in. Me and Jay were at the beginning more idea people, and she would bring it to life. She would say, well, we can do this. Let's try this. Let's do this. And so Angie will come up with ideas, and Angie will start organize them and say, well, what can we do? What can't we do? Is this feasible? Is this feasible? And the thing is, because we have 3 different people, we kind of co-share power. We all might have different ideas, and that's one of the best things about KCF and Always One Ministries is that we don't always agree, and that keeps us possibly open to other ideas. See, because I wanted to take the festival in a much harder way than we are now. And Jay was wanting rock, hard rock, and keep it kind of more drift towards the mainstream a little bit, not in the mainstream, but kind of drift towards there. And I was wanting to go further out, and we kind of ended up bringing it together. But it only happened because he fought for his dream, I fought for mine. We put it together and said, you know what, this will work this way. And so, and Angie's kind of the person who's in there, and she sees a different perspective than all of us, and she kind of puts it all together. And so, that this goes with every part of this. When we're talking about hospitality or merchandise or promotion, things like that, we all have these. We all put our ideas together and then try to form our best understanding of what we can do. And budget is a huge thing, so we don't do a lot of promotion that costs money. We do our promotion through networking and social media, like what we're doing right here now, what Blast FM is doing, and other people are here right now. Is we just develop relationships, and hopefully that blesses you and gets your ministry and your ability further, and it does the same for us. And so it's one of the things that we've had the biggest problem is promotion. But as you can see, there's people from all over this area of the United States.
Yeah, we've been talking to people from all over different states.
Yes.
So, hey, Chris, I want to ask you a very personal question. I'm going to do it in a way that's not going to get you in any trouble with any of the bands here, all right? I'm not going to ask you who's your favorite band at KCF because that should be too much. Sure. But, so, your favorite band that's not at KCF.
Oh, man, that's just mean. My favorite band that's not at KCF. Oh, wow.
Back in the day.
Wow, really? Going back in the day.
Yeah,
you know what, man? I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm probably way older than you guys. I'm 60, and I was in the 70s. I listened to, Kagi and and Andre Crouch and Love Song. Okay. So, I would say somebody like Daniel Amos.
Okay.
Daniel Amos is my all-time favorite band.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And so Daniel Amos or Love Song, that'd be who if I could get them here, that would be awesome.
Chris, for our listeners, number one is for the musicians and artists that are out there, how would they be able to submit to you if they're interested in coming? And then number two, how can you tell fans to find you and the best way they can find you right now to come to the festival?
All right. Well, for bands who are interested in submitting, and we encourage every band to submit because we're always looking for new bands. We try to have a certain percentage of new bands every year. We like to have at least a third of the bands new every year. And so the best way to do that is to go to alwaysoneministries.com. It's spelled out the number. It's not the number one. It's spelled O-N-E. Always One Ministries, one word.com, and look on there, and there should be a link for band submission. And that's the quickest way. And if you have trouble with that, just message us by looking up Kingdom Come Festival on Facebook, and you can message us there, and we will send you the link for band submission. And which is also the best way for fans to get a hold of us, is to go to Always One Ministries at Facebook or Kingdom Come Festival on Facebook. And we also have another festival coming up, Pit Fest. So you can look at Pit Fest Kokomo. at on Facebook, and that'll be our smaller biker rally festival that we do.
Well, you know, I think part of the thing is too, look, metal is a tough genre to succeed in, and however you want to define success. It's a tough genre right now and in the United States because, sad to say, it's not 1986 anymore. Okay? Metal is still big. We know that it's big in countries like Brazil. It's big in Germany. It's big in Japan. It just doesn't have the market share that maybe, say, other pop or hip-hop or other types of music do in the United States. So first of all, metal is a tough genre to be in. Then you're going to do Christian metal. That's even tougher. So I think part of it is because it's so tough, these artists have to be very clear in what they're doing and why they're doing it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. They wouldn't be in this area of the music world if they were not 100% and completely sold out for Jesus.
Right. And it was a fun time as well. Wildman and Steve, we were ourselves, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen, I was in, and I don't know if they've got this expression where you live, Wildman, but where I'm from here in Indiana, we'll talk about somebody being in hog heaven. And I got to tell you, brother, I was in hog heaven. Listen, if I could have my DeLorean get up to 88 miles an hour, and if I could generate 1.21 gigawatts of energy to send through the flux capacitor, baby, I would be going back to the 1980s. People want to say the day the music died was when the airplane went down on the way to the winter dance party, carrying Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. I say no. The day the music died was December 31st, 1989. Once we left the decade of the 80s, baby, it all went downhill. Fortunately, though, we do have some bands like those we saw at Kingdom Come Festival who are bringing back the best of the 80s, but not in a nostalgia trip. Right. They're taking the foundations of that great rock from the 70s and the 80s, and they are truly bringing it into the 21st century with their own spin.
Exactly. The same spirit, the same heart. And, that's what was so encouraging because, I was stretched. I personally was stretched. And in one of the interviews, I even explained that because one of the singers was talking about screaming. And I talked about what screaming meant in our era. And what it means now is different. So I was stretched to listen to some of the new metal because, I'm, as I've said, I'm stuck in the 80s. But it was encouraging to see that the torch was still being carried because they were using the music for the same message. And so, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind Kingdom Come Festival. Hopefully, it'll be able to go on next year as well, and we would love to be there. Now, there's one thing I think we need to accept a challenge of between now and next year, or let's just say in the next festival we go to. Okay. I don't know if you heard on the grounds at the festival, there was a lot of rumbling going on about us, Steve. I don't know if you knew that or not. Sometimes
I thought that was just my stomach getting hungry for a hot dog.
Well, yeah, that happened quite often, I think, for both of us. But I kind of like to go out and discreet sometimes just to hear if anybody's talking about us, and I don't want to say this too loud, but we were the talk of the whole festival. I mean, everywhere I went, it was Wildman and Steve. That was out there. And the one thing they were wondering, they were like, hey. When are Wildman and Steve, when are they going to grow their rock locks back?
Oh, did you just throw down?
Hey.
Did you just
I'm just telling you what the fans asked for. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all I'm saying is I hope my wife is going to listen to this because I've been telling her for years that I need to grow my rock locks back out. And believe me, I had some rock locks back in the day. But those have long been gone, and I think that would be a great look for the two of us to cultivate.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, now I know some people look at us and say, who are those old guys trying to be young? But, that's just not the case. You know why? Because, hey, in our minds, it's still 1986. Anyway, folks.